Y'all know what it is. It's the usual suspect 650-50 draw. Buy your tickets now for your chance at winning half the pot. Cash App, $ usual 50-50. Tickets are on sale for $10 for one, $20 for 3 tickets, and $50 for 10 tickets. Put your desired amount, name or alias, as well as your email address, and your tickets will be set. We announce the winning ticket numbers every other Friday on Supreme Beats Boxing Talk Bullshitting on the Beltway, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Remaining proceeds will go directly to the LDBC meet and greet in Las Vegas. Shout out to the LDBC, and remember,
it's a usual suspect day.
Y'all know what it is. It's the Find the Boxer game. Purchase a box for a chance at winning $500. One of 54 boxes has a missing boxer inside. Purchase your box or boxes by Cash Apping $ usual 50-50. Include your box number, name, and email address. Your box number will be confirmed and sent directly to your email. Each box is $20 with a 1 in 54 chance of winning. Remaining proceeds will go directly to the LDBC meet and greet in Las Vegas. Shout out to the LDBC, and remember,
it's a usual suspect day.
We offer the best grooming products for you. Dress all natural and handcrafted too. We wanna help be your swagger, your style, class, and luxury. We make our products tailor-made for you with high quality. Yeah. So get in style with the black, yeah. Grooming company to give you swagger, style, class, and luxury. In luxury, yeah. Black gentleman, yeah. Company to give you swagger, style, class, and luxury. In luxury, yeah.
Located at www.theblackgent.com.
You might be on mute.
Yo. What's good? What's good? It's Stormy B Man, and I am back. Welcoming you to Nerds on Culture with Stormy B Man for this Monday, Memorial Day, May 26, 2025. This is number 121 in the series of Nerds, and we are here tonight to talk Kung Fu Legends, a subgenre series in the Nerds where we'll talk about from time to time Kung Fu artists and how they've graced the culture with their careers. And tonight we're opening up with talking about Jackie Chan. Jackie Chan is a legend, and we are here to talk about him and some of the highlights of his career and how he's wowed audiences, possibly being the greatest stuntman, actor, action star in cinematic history. So that's what we're here to feature this evening. And I want to welcome everybody out there. I've been encountering some technical difficulties. So if you see or notice that there's some glitches, like this is supposed to be simulcasting on my Kung Fu page, but I got a notice here on the screen that's telling me that there was something in there and there's some kind of glitch right there. So it may not be happening over there, even though it's supposed to be, but we will be ironing out the bugs. But with no further ado, let me introduce my partner in crime. We got Drew Titan in the building with us this evening. What's going on with you, brother? Glad to have you here with me this evening.
Good evening. I'm prepared for this, man. Grew up on Jackie Chan. Jackie Chan, you know, some people may say he was heir to the throne, and y'all know what I mean. They refer to Bruce Lee as Big Master, but he was heir to the throne. But as you get a little older and start listening to his interviews and see his work, he was the complete polar opposite, but every bit as entertaining in a more of a comedic way. But the martial arts, the choreography, the fact that the man did his own stunts, and you know, Stormy, this might have to be a two-parter. Now that I think about it, because he's gone through several phases. And
yeah, absolutely. And though I hadn't said anything about that, I was thinking the very same thing, because Jackie transitioned from his early days of being a stand-in stuntman to becoming a co-star, to becoming a featured star and / choreographer once his fame started under his feet. And then as the feature star, he started out in the martial art films. With his success in that, he began to transition into action film fare, which is not so much martial arts, but, you know, playing cops and detectives and running around with guns and still having these great action set pieces on his films and projects. And then he went into a period where he did a little bit of dramatic stuff for a very short period of time. And then he went back to more comedic stuff. And I think Jackie is one of the few, like a Clint Eastwood or someone like that, has stood the test of time. Born April 7th, 1954. You do the math on how old he is, but it's like the man is really something else. And he's finally starting to let his gray hair just show, because he was dyeing his hair for a number of years.
Right.
But Jackie is, he is really, truly a treasure in cinematic history. And he's worthy of people speaking of him and giving respect to his body of work. So that's what we're doing tonight. And like you said, it could be a two-parter. It can possibly even be more than a two-parter because of what I just laid out there. But we will speak on his early time in cinema in Hong Kong, and we'll just let it roll from there. What happens to be your earliest memory of Jackie Chan, Drew?
Snake and Eagle Shadow.
Okay.
Snake and Eagle Shadow. That was man, I might have saw that when I was about maybe 7, 8 years old. Groundhouse style. There you go. Groundhouse style, 42nd Street, New York City. If you know, you know. It's not the Disney family-oriented place that y'all guys may have visited in the last decade plus. It was a ish house down there. But one of the things that was nice about that was the Groundhouse theaters. One side of the street, I forget which street, but the Times Square area, one side of the street was all kung fu flicks. And you can go in there and get your popcorn and sit down. Of course, I was too young to go by myself. My dad used to take me and my older brother. Shout out to my brother's birthday is this weekend. And we would go and watch like 2 kung fu flicks. I saw Snake and Eagle Shadow one time, and another movie that sticks out in my mind was Clones of Bruce Lee. But that's another topic for another day. But I remember watching this, and I was just fascinated. I was fascinated, the choreography, and dare I say, this was the film that got me hooked on the martial arts film. We call them kung fu flicks. It was my dad and my older brother that was saying, okay, there's a difference between this guy and the Sonny Chiba movies. He was a Japanese guy that knew karate, and there's a difference, and all of this stuff. But this movie right here, Snake and Eagle Shadow, this is what got me hooked. This is what got me hooked. And back then, look, I'm old, guys. I'm old. When we saw this in the films, not everybody in America had a VCR in their house. You understand? So you actually had to get up and leave your crib when something was playing in the theater that you wanted to see. You understand? And then when we got VCRs and cassette tapes, that was when my late Uncle Gary started to get a hold of these films, man. And this was my Saturday. Jackie Chan films, and then it went into the Shaw Brothers films, and it was nice. And even the Shaw Brothers films, by the time we started seeing them on Channel 5 out here in New York, those films was already about 5 or 6 years old. Those films came out in the late 70s, mid to late 70s. By the time we saw them, they were about maybe almost 8 to 10 years old. You know what I mean? But Jackie Chan, it was a bit of a, dare I say, a trendsetter. Bit of a trendsetter when it came to certain things, man. And he was funny. But then when the climax of the film, when he was fighting at the end, you see his face here? This is when he was all business in the film. You know, like he didn't want to be Bruce Lee, serious all the time. He wanted to have that comedic value behind his work, and it worked out for him. And that's why I say we need to do more than one show on this, man, because the last film I saw him in was, well, I'm gonna see The Karate Kid because he's in it. And I just, I grew up on a Karate Kid, and I just need to see how it all comes to an end. But Stormy, did you watch The Foreigner? The movie that he was in, The Foreigner. If y'all have not seen The Foreigner,
I didn't get a chance to watch it yet. I have it. I know we had mentioned it, and
yeah,
it's just been so much going on. I haven't had a chance to really watch anything yet. But
that's a serious film. It's a serious film. I recommend it. And if you grew up on Jackie Chan, you're not used to seeing him like that. It's like, oh crap. And he's a badass in that film. And it's one of those, you should have left that old man alone type of thing. You know what I'm saying? You should have left him alone. Because then when you find out, well, why is he nice like that? He's working at a damn Chinese restaurant. You goof off with him and then, do something to his family. And now he's running up in your house and John Wicking you. You ain't know he's nice like, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, that was damn good. And I wasn't used to seeing him like that. It's like I forgot the name of that movie with Robin Williams where he played a serial killer. And it's like, oh crap, he's not joking in this film. It's not, you're not used to that, you know. So yeah, Snake and Eagle Shadows. That's what set it off for me. I was hooked.
Yeah. What's interesting is that his film library starts quite early, man. Jackie, because he was a part of a group, an opera troupe called the Seven Little Fortunes. He and his classmates Sammo Hung and Yuen Biao, who he starred in a number of films with during the early 80s. His films started in 1962 as a co-star and an acrobat and things of that nature. But my remembrance of Jackie, what was really interesting was a film that he did that it was released. It was made in 1973, released in 1973, but it was kind of held back. And if you ever get a chance to watch this film, there's a cast of characters that are quite familiar to Kung Fu films, and you'll see them in this film. The film is called The Cub Tiger from Kwangtung. And in this film, a very young Jackie, he might have been in this film, he might have been 18 or 19 in this film, but he has a co-starring role. And the main star of the film is a gentleman by the name of Cheng Hun Lee, who played a villain in a lot of films. If you ever saw the film with Chong Pei Pei, Come Drink With Me, he's in the opening scene of that. He's in all white, and he's this guy that he's a bandit in that film. And Cheng Hun Lee played that role very well. He was kind of like typecast as a villain, although he did play a heroic role here and there, but he was always that annoying guy that you just want to see something bad happen to. And in this film, Cub Tiger from Kwangtung, it's also known as 10 Fingers of Steel in some areas, which is also another name for Jimmy Wong Yu's film, The King of Boxers. They got real crazy in the early 70s with these mixing up the titles, because when they tried to ship the films internationally, they were trying to hit with titles that would lure audiences in. So that's, if anyone wants to know, well, why did certain movies have so many different titles, you know, and you call yourself buying them on DVD and or VHS when that came out, and you find out I got this movie already under a different title. That's one of the reasons why, because in different areas where the films were released, they tried to make it with titles that would draw an audience, you know, and they were trying to cater to audiences. And also remember, in the early 70s, that's when President Nixon opened up trading and everything with China. And prior to that, we didn't have that. So it's like, that's why it was called the first wave of Kung Fu films being released in America, because, you know, that was when a lot of Chinese products, Chinese food, Chinese commerce being opened up with the deal that Nixon and Mao arranged to interact at that time.
Yeah.
Prior to that, China was pretty much shut and doors closed to the U.S. and vice versa. But this film, Cub Tiger for Kwangtung, Jackie has this role that he plays, and he's a little bit acrobatic in the film, and he also has some good action in there. Now, there's another character in the film, Paul Tien, who is also seen in Bruce Lee's Fist of Fury or The Chinese Connection. He was the guy that played the lead brother in the school after the main teacher died, the elder brother. He wasn't a teacher, but he was the elder brother. and he was the one always admonishing Bruce Lee's character and stuff.
Yes,
That was
yes.
Paul Tien, and he's a very familiar face in Hong Kong film industry. So yeah, that was my earliest remembrance of Jackie. And then of course, if you look closely, when you watch any of Angela Mao's early films, you'll see him as a stuntman in the background taking punches and kicks from Angela Mao. And she was like a big sister to Jackie, because though a couple of years older, and she also having been born of a opera background, where in an opera background they teach them martial arts, swordplay, weaponry, acrobatics, acting, all of those kind of things. So these young folks, they grew up with cultivated skills. So by the time when they were doing what they were doing in front of these cameras, that's why they were so good. And it was something that went on. Parents would send their children to opera schools when they couldn't even afford to raise them, because at those schools, the people who ran the opera troupes, they would feed them, board them, and give them these skill sets and send them out into the entertainment industry to either perform almost like as acrobats or stunt people or extras on films and everything. So it was a way to make a living. You didn't make a lot, but it gave you honest work. So that's a little bit of the background on that. Just wanted to share that bit of information.
Yeah, that is very intriguing. Salute to everyone in the chat. See you out there, General.
Salute to the General. I see him out there.
Shower Shogun. Salute to all y'all. Universal Truth. Salute to y'all. Yeah, Jackie. Let me see. Wow, there's so much to say. Because we had to, outside of the Groundhouse films, after that, we had to like get a lot of his work on VHS tapes.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And I do remember Dragon Fist. I'm trying to remember the name of the oh man. So I can't. I should have did more homework because I can't. I have the action scenes in my mind, but oh, wait a minute. That's how versatile he was. He'll do a movie like Snake and Eagle Shadow, and then he'll do the cop story?
Police Story.
Well,
that came later though.
Much later.
It came later though, Drew. See, that's the thing. He didn't start making films like Police Story until after his real fame and success came.
Right.
But there was a long period of time before he even got to that. What's interesting
before because Police Story came out in the the late 80s?
No, Police Story. I have
because this guy had a
85.
85
okay. Is when Police Story originally came out.
This guy has a body of work a decade prior to that, man. You know what I mean?
Well, it goes back to the 60s. Remember, I told you, 1962 is when his career started, and he was a teenager.
What was the film that put him over, though?
The film that put him over, I would have to say, was he had a starring role, a co-starring role in a little 1975 production called The Hand of Death, also known as Countdown in Kung Fu, directed by John Woo. And that film also starred Tan Tao Lang and James Chin, and it was and Sammo Hung. It gave Jackie a chance to play off of leading stars James Chin and Tan Tao Lang, who was a Korean martial artist and actor who was known for his kicks. Flash Legs was his nickname, And he
Wow.
was also the Sifu of John Liu. If you remember John Liu, who played in numerous kung fu films like The Secret Rivals and films like that, he was the one that could hold his leg up with one hand, and
Yes,
he
yes,
was very flexible. That's
yes.
John Liu Cha Lang, and his teacher was Tan Tao Lang. What's really interesting, and he said that when he put John Liu through the training regimens for the Taekwondo that he studied under him, he was in pain for 3 years
Damn.
until he got to that point of that flexibility with his legs that he's so noted in kung fu films after that. But yeah, isn't that interesting? But that was Jackie's first real taste of success, because it was almost like a Dirty Dozen type film, but it was only 3 characters who were the main characters and a couple of sub characters. And Jackie had a very good co-starring role in there. The film was very successful as a martial arts film. Raked in 700, almost 800,000 with its Hong Kong box office back in July of 1976 when it was released. So, but what I was going to say before you asked me that question, I was going to say about Jackie, you know, he was around Bruce Lee on a couple of different films, and he got the chance to see how Bruce Lee did things. And like all of the stuntmen in Hong Kong who worked on Lee's films, and there weren't a lot, but there were a handful who went on to have prominent careers themselves. Jackie just admired Lee's professionalism, how he would take takes over and over to get something perfect, and how he treated the stuntmen on the film sets, because they say that Lee was very generous with the stuntmen. He would eat lunch with them. He didn't act like a movie star, like a Jimmy Wong Yu or something, who used to always sun people and embarrass them and even hit them for real and stuff like Steven Seagal was noted to do, and to a lesser degree, Van Damme was noted to do. These guys would be hitting people for real on the movie sets, but Bruce Lee didn't do that. And if he did hit someone for real, he would, like, you know, be very apologetic, even send them to the hospital and pay for their hospital bills if it was required. And it did happen on a couple of occasions. But check this out. This is how great a stuntman Jackie was. You remember Fist of Fury, Chinese Connection, the end fight between Bruce Lee and the Japanese leader, right?
Yes.
Do you remember how he killed the Japanese leader?
And Fist of Fury?
Yeah.
Okay, how we know it is Fist of Fury, or Chinese Connection, how we know it?
Chinese Connection, either title, but it's the same.
Talking about Mr. Suzuki, when he killed Mr. Suzuki.
Yeah, Mr. Suzuki. Do you remember how he killed him?
Yeah, the kick to the throat. Kick.
Yeah. And he went flying through the wall into the backyard.
That was actually hilarious. Yeah.
That was Jackie Chan that did the fly.
No.
Yeah. And guess what? No wires.
How?
He did a run and leap through the wall, crashed through the wall into the backyard. They filmed it, and then in the film they put it in slow motion. That was Jackie.
Stop.
Did you see the height he got? Because he was in the air, right?
Wait, hold on. I'm gonna pull that up on my end. I just want to see that part. Now that I didn't know that.
Yeah. That was Jackie Chan that did that stunt for Suzuki.
His name was Chen Jay in that movie.
Yeah. Wasn't that amazing? That was an amazing stunt. When Bruce Lee saw Jackie do that, they say he ran out there to Jackie and asked him, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" And Jackie was like, Jackie has told this story himself too in certain interviews throughout his career. He said that when he saw Bruce Lee was giving him so much attention, he act like he was hurt a little more, like, oh, I think I'll be okay. I think I'll be, you know, because Bruce was saying, Jackie, are you okay? Are you okay?
Stormy.
So he was sucking up the affection from Bruce Lee and the attention from Bruce Lee.
Bro, first of all, I'm looking at it right now.
Uh-huh.
How the hell did he get height on that?
No wires, bro. No wires. And if you look at it, you can tell that there's no wires because wires usually have a certain kind of effect when they pull people and stuff like that. And they hadn't really got sophisticated with wire work at that particular time because that was 1972.
Stormy, what's more famous? The Bruce Lee kick, silhouette, or the Jordan symbol?
It depends on what part of the world you're in.
True story. Yo, that's Jackie flying through that damn.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
That was Jackie, man. That was Jackie. And just an amazing stunt that he performed there. And he was also in Bruce Lee's Into the Dragon, where he played a couple of different stuntmen in that, where Bruce Lee was fighting Hans guards in the dungeon. And one of the guys was a guy where when Bruce Lee picked up the long bow staff, the long stick, and he was fighting the guys, and then when he hit one of the guys, boom, and the guy went down right in front of the camera. That was Jackie. And then later, when he was fighting the guys and he got the nunchuckers, and when he was whacking the guys with the nunchucks, and the guy that he hits with the nunchucks and goes over into the acid pit where they drowned Jim Kelly in.
Yeah,
that was Jackie.
That was Jackie.
And,
that I knew.
And then Jackie was also the one that jumped on him behind him, and he broke Jackie's guard of holding him and turned him around and broke his neck. That was Jackie. So Jackie was in that sequence 3 times. When he was the guy that got knocked into the acid pit, he had a fake mustache on, like a little light mustache. It's like they used to do this kind of stuff as using stuntman over and over again. But Bruce liked his reactions to how, he knew that Jackie was really good. And Bruce could recognize the talent in people. So he worked with them and he made sure that they got extra pay and stuff like that when they showed up and made him look great,
Yeah. Jackie got his feet wet early, man. And Bruce recognized that work. Man, that's something else.
Yeah, he's in Angela Mao's Hapkido, which also stars June Ray, who was a great friend of Bruce Lee, the father of Hapkido in America, Korean star. That's the only film that June Ray, Master Ray, they used to refer to him as. It's the only film he starred in, and Bruce Lee got him that role. And what was interesting was, because the Kung Fu genre was really kicking off with Bruce's success and stuff, so he brought June Ray over there to introduce the Golden Harvest Studios so he could be a new alternative, like with Hapkido skills and Taekwondo skills. And I'm sorry, not Taekwondo, not Hapkido. June Ray was Taekwondo because he was in the movie When Taekwondo Strikes with Angela Mao. I'm thinking about Hapkido because Hapkido is the film that Angela did, and Jackie can be seen clearly in that film in the backgrounds. But I don't recall seeing him in When Taekwondo Strikes, but he could have still been a stuntman then too. But June Ray was supposed to be the lead star of When Taekwondo Strikes, and Bruce Lee had given him a call in the States to tell him, hey, your film is done, it's all edited and ready to go, and you're gonna have top billing, in the film. And Bruce Lee died a couple of days later, and Then the director and producer for the film, Raymond Chow, and the director, Wong Fong, they made Angela Mao the star of the film,
Right.
going against Bruce's wishes. So, but that happened because he had died, and he was gone a couple days before he died. That he had told June Ray, that good news. But yeah, there's a strong history with these guys, but Jackie was probably the most fearless stuntman out of all of them. There were guys who did better acrobatics, who had better kung fu, who had better weapon skills. In fact, if you ask me, I think Jackie, when he would have fight scenes, and this is before he started being real successful with his own movies, I think that Jackie was a kind of guy, he looked more like a Western karate guy trying to do kung fu. For whatever reason, his kung fu wasn't fluid. It was not fluid. But where he excelled was making it look more realistic as far as being taking shots and delivering them with like a Western type flavor to them, roundhouse punches instead of straight or stylized punches from a martial arts technique. But that was something that he did. And the director, Lo Wei, who directed Bruce Lee's first two films, The Big Boss and Fist of Fury, he tried to turn Jackie into the new Bruce Lee, but it didn't work. He did a series of films after Bruce died. Like there were a few films he did, that movie I told you, The Hand of Death, The Himalayan, New Fist of Fury, The Killer Meteors, Shaolin Wooden Men, To Kill with Intrigue. All of those films were made between 1974 and 1977. And they were not box office hits. They were not box office hits. And so Lo Wei was frustrated. And there was a director coming up whose name was Yuen Wu Ping. You guys may have come to know him through the years, especially after the success with being the action choreographer for the Matrix films and a few other films like Charlie's Angels and so forth. Yuen Wu Ping was looking to make an independent martial art film, and he needed someone who could do good acrobatics and who had a boyish-like appeal. And he first went to Shaw Brothers to ask for Alexander Fushing. But Shaw was real tight with his contracted players. You couldn't come and ask him for a glass of water. He didn't play that. So there was no way that Fushing could get that job. So then he went to Golden Harvest and asked Raymond Chow, how about, or Lo Wei, how about, lending Jackie to us so we can make this little independent film that we got coming up. We think that he can do the work. And Lo Wei, out of his frustration, because Lo Wei was Jackie's godfather also. Oh, wow. He was like, go ahead, you can use him. The dude is box office poison, right? So Yuen Wu Ping, who is from a famous family and clan of martial artists and action people, the film's title was following up on another film that he had done, The Secret Rivals. And The Secret Rivals starred Don Wong and John Liu. They had a sequel in Wong Ching Lee. So they, those two films were very successful, but on the independent circuit, not on the major film circuit like Golden Harvest or Shaw Brothers. So they lent them out, and the rest is history, because the film was a two film deal. Snake in the Eagle's Shadow was the first film. Drunken Monkey in the Tiger's Eye was the second film. And then they changed the title to just Drunken Master. But Jackie became an overnight sensation, just like Bruce Lee did after The Big Boss. When Snake in the Eagle Shadow was released, Jackie became a huge star. And what was really interesting is that everybody in the industry knew him, right? And it's like Bruce Lee was a child star and came back like 15 years later and became a movie star as an adult. Well, Jackie had been in films since he was in his late teens, but was never in any real big box office films. Now, all of a sudden, he's a superstar off of this one movie. Imagine that.
That's wild.
Yeah. So, and Drunken Master just really solidified him. In other words, they recognized with the talents that he had, he didn't have to try to be like Bruce Lee, where a lot of actors and stars were trying to repeat Bruce Lee, right? They were trying to fight like him. They were trying to action choreograph scenes like him, and they just couldn't repeat the magic that was his. Bruce Lee had a thing that he would do when he was making his films. He would touch people for real, like with his kicks and everything. His kick would just barely touch you, like a tap on the jaw, on your chest, or whatever. And he would tell people, don't move before you feel it, because if you move or you jump first, you can hurt yourself. And he was very good at this. When the Shaw stars and other stars in the other low-budget kung fu films and everything had heard about that, because stuntmen talk, hey, Lei Shu Long got us doing this and doing that, and it works. We were scared at first, and blah blah blah. They get to talking behind the scenes, right? So other film companies, their stars and actors and stuntmen start trying to repeat it, right?
Yeah.
And they were injuring each other. They were all injuring themselves and everything, trying to recreate Bruce Lee style on screen. It's like
not good.
It's funny, man.
That's funny as hell.
That's just like Wong Ching Lee, the villain of Snake in the Eagle Shadow, and also in Drunken Master. In the first film, he kicked Jackie in the mouth for real and knocked his tooth out, knocked his front tooth out his mouth. And if you watch the film, at the end of the movie, you see Jackie and the old man Simon Ewan, who is in this picture with him. You see Jackie missing a tooth. Wong Ching Lee kicked him in the mouth and knocked his tooth out.
Oh, that's horrible. That is horrible. So
he didn't do it on purpose, but it was like he didn't have full control, and that's what ended up injuring Jackie.
Would you consider Jackie Chan, like, okay, after Bruce Lee, that was devastating. That was a devastating loss to film, Chinese cinema, devastating loss. Because not only Chinese cinema, but Bruce Lee was a superstar, man. Bruce Lee was a superstar. And after
he was about to be, because remember, by the time he wasn't really there yet, and when he died, Enter the Dragon released after his death, so his fame truly came after his death. That's what a lot of people don't realize about Bruce Lee. Yeah, he was famous in Hong Kong with The Big Boss, Way of the Dragon, and Fist of Fury, but Enter the Dragon is what made him an international star the world over, and he was already gone.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. It was unfortunate by the time that was released, he was dead. But had he been alive, I can only imagine, what was about to be done. We spoken about there was about to be a crossover with him and Sonny Chiba. If Hollywood put some numbers behind that, Lord knows what they would have done, or whatever, man. It would have been great. But with that happening, Jackie Chan kind of like, I don't want to say came out of nowhere, but do you think that they looked towards him to carry that mantle, and he carried it in a different way, which actually worked out?
Well, remember, the director Lo Wei and his godfather tried to take him down the route of being like Bruce, and it wasn't working. So much to the degree that a couple of the films that Lo Wei had filmed got put on the shelf. It's like they didn't even get released. Then Lo Wei started releasing everything after Jackie's success with Drunken Master and Snake in the Eagle's Shadow. So the success for those films were predicated on Jackie being successful for the 2 films with Yuen Wu-Ping. I don't think that they pointed him in that direction. I just think that the genre tired of people trying to imitate and be like Bruce Lee, and they welcomed Jackie's action type fare because, for one, it was a new type of choreography, like Snake in the Eagle's Shadow with the snake fist and the eagle's claw and stuff like that. We hadn't seen those films, you know. And then Drunken Master, of course, that was like the drunken style. It's like, wow, that was a novelty thing, right? And so after that was successful, you started to see drunken style in all kinds of films, including Shaw Brothers did their own rendition of it in the film Shaolin Challenges Ninja, where Gordon Liu was playing the role of that guy that married the Japanese girl.
Yep.
And they challenged each other to see whose art was best.
One of the greatest films ever made.
It is, man. It is truly, and we got to do a piece on that alone.
Oh, and you know what, Stormy?
A
bit of that is pep talk, bro. You know why?
Yeah.
Oh.
But that film, in that film, when Gordon is trying to learn some drunken fighting from his elder brother in real life, that's Pops. Lu Cha Lang, he was doing the drunken style in there because he's playing like an old beggar like Simon Liu right here in this photo, and Gordon is trying to emulate his moves and stuff to learn the drunken style. So yeah, the drunken genre came after Jackie's success with this film, and there was one hindrance for Jackie. Jackie wasn't what they called at that time cinematic handsome. He wasn't matinee idol looks. Right. He kind of looked like an Asian version of Dustin Hoffman, if you ask me. But he was not like that handsome dude that people adored. And they even had him do surgery on his eyes to widen his eyes, because if you looked at him earlier in his career, his eyes were a lot tighter. But he had surgery. Yeah, a lot of the Asian actors during that time, and even now up to today, if they figure that would enhance their features, they have that surgery to have their eyes surgically altered. Yeah. I'm just telling you facts. You know, it's like, I'm not trying to sound like I'm being biased or nothing like that. That's a real thing.
Jeez, I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, go back and watch. You could go back and watch Jackie in The Hand of Death and watch him in Drunken Master. His face looks different. You'll be trying to say, what is it about him? I'm trying to figure out what's different. It's the eyes, the surgery.
That's wild. I never even considered. Wow, I didn't know that. That's crazy. Learn something new.
I told you, man, I know so much about this genre. I was really into this, and you know, it wouldn't go to waste with us doing shows like this or me doing the kung fu film joints. But it just goes to show to you all that I'm not one looking to capitalize or cash in on my knowledge for this stuff.
Yeah, true story. Yeah, Jackie. Yeah, you know, now that you've mentioned it, crap. You know, yeah. They try to get him to look less Asian, I guess.
Well, no, it's not that. It's just that even in, like, you know, even in our own culture here in America, where we see discriminatory acts upon one another. If someone is a shade too dark or a shade too light, you get people who make and stuff like that, right? It happens. It's just a reality. Well, in their culture, that happens too. Being too dark, being too light, eyes being too closed and slit, and eyes being wide open. You ever wonder why anime and Japanimation, they always draw the characters with the eyes real big?
Yeah.
Think about it. That's why.
I'll point something else about anime. A lot of times, not all the time, but a lot of times, the main villain always has a European look, blonde hair, blue eyes.
Yeah, we
White.
talked about that. Yeah.
They'll show you what they think. That's wild work, man. That Shout out to what's his name? He used to play for the Cubs. What's his name? I can't even think of his name now. The baseball player played for the Cubs, all those home runs, and he went from being
Sammy Sosa,
black Latino, to I don't know what he is now. That is just wild. He don't even live in America
now. He looks pink.
Working around with cowboy hats and everything. He looks sick. Sammy No-So. No Sosa.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Sammy lost the sauce Sosa. Ridiculous, bro.
When I saw that for him, man, I just kind of like dropped my head. I'm like, you know what?
Yeah.
That was like, there was no reason for that man to do that to himself unless he had some inner demons that were just totally overtaking him. But
Yeah.
I know.
How are you a Hall of Fame athlete, a proud representative of your people, and then when you hang it up, you do that to yourself? That was crazy. Goes to show you, man, these people don't really like themselves like you think. So I shout out everybody that keeps it thorough, man. Well, anyway.
So Jackie went on after this film, Drunken Master. And after the box office success of that, he was able to make a couple of films on his own as a director. And the director being films like Fearless Hyena and The Young Master, which was 1980. Fearless Hyena was 1979. Young Master was 1980. And Young Master was a different type of a martial art film for him. And that's when he began to showcase action set pieces where he was using objects like stools, fans, pipes. And when I say pipes, I'm talking about smoking pipes, like the long smoking pipe, because Shi Ken, who was the villain of Enter the Dragon, the old man Han, he's in this film, Young Master, with Jackie, and they got this great scene where he's playing a old police officer who's looking for Jackie's school brother for committing a crime, and Jackie is trying to head him off at the pass, but he ends up at the police officer's home, and the policeman is trying to chase him around the house. They having this crazy little fight scene, and he finds this pipe that the policeman had. It was like supposed to be given to him by the emperor or something like that. So it was like a special piece, right? So he grabs a sword, and every time he's trying to slice Jackie with the sword, Jackie is using the pipe to block it, and he don't want to hit the pipe with the sword. So he was like, He's like, and it's a hilarious scene, man. It's like, but the choreography is by Jackie, you know, so it's really pretty cool. And Jackie's like prancing around, you know, and he was like, don't break that. And then he finally tells Jackie, I'll put the sword down. Please just put that back on the altar. And Jackie is like, okay. And then they both like go to put the things down, and they both really don't intend to put them down, so they start at it again. It's like, man, that movie is hilarious for that scene.
Funny as hell. I remember that.
And where he's fighting with the fan, like in this photo here, they said he did like 100 takes or something where he was doing the scene with this fan. because he was doing some acrobatics and stuff where he tosses the fan up and catches it. And so, you know, Jackie was, dude, this was him coming into his prime, doing some great stuff. Great stuff.
Stormy, write this down. It just dawned on me. Best kung fu video games, because there's a lot of things in these games that I've played throughout the years that are influenced by Bruce Lee and Jackie Chan in particular.
Yeah.
Yep. There's a whole character on Tekken named Lei Wulong. Stormy, that was in Tekken 2. Came out in the 90s. Stormy, when that game came out and you picked that character, you knew immediately who that was supposed to be. Immediately. Game was so good. But yeah, I just thought of that. This man has more influence than people give him credit for, as a matter of fact.
Yeah. That one game that came out that has all the classic guys on it, that's pretty cool too. It's got Jackie, Bruce, Van Damme, Jim Kelly. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, that's the independent game.
Man, that's a bad game right there.
That was that's an independent game called Shaolin versus Wu-Tang.
Yeah.
It's independent, man. I was like, oh man, there's 2 volumes to that, man. That game is great. That game is great. Oh man, if it had just had some backing from one of those bigger companies, man. But man, that game was fun to watch. I never played it. It was fun to watch. But yeah, I remember that scene that you was just talking about. He's like, please put that back.
Yeah. And do you know, like Sheik Ken, man, he was like in his 70s when he made that movie with Jackie. That old man, he had been around for so long. He was all the way back in the late 50s playing a villain against Wong Fei Hung, played by Quan Tak King. Quan Tak King was the original Wong Fei Hung, played him in over 100 films. I think he's got the Guinness Book of World Records for playing one character the most. That's Quan Tak King playing Wong Fei Hung. And I think his last time playing Wong Fei Hung was in Dreadnought, which was a Golden Harvest film that was made in like 78 or 79, maybe 80. Where he plays him, he reprised the role in there, Dreadnought. But you know, it just goes, these people were amazing, man, with their skills and everything. And they just excited audiences for generations, man, for decades.
Man, this is why King Fusus Lit House salute. This is why Jackie Chan into action films is so important, man. There's some actors that came along way after him that followed in those footsteps, man. And which is why, fast forwarding to, I want to say the 90s, when he came out with Rumble in the Bronx, which clearly wasn't filmed in the Bronx.
No.
But
but it was still an entertaining movie, though. It was very
entertaining. It was very entertaining. But on top of that, he was getting like another run in the American audience because we haven't seen him in a while. I think the last time we saw Jackie Chan in America on a grand stage was Cannonball Run, if I'm not mistaken. He was in Cannonball Run.
Well, Cannonball Run was first, and then his film, The Big Brawl.
Mm-hmm.
The Big Brawl was his first Hollywood film.
I remember that. I remember that.
That's what this photo backdrop is.
Yep.
This photo right here is from The Big Brawl. It's also known as Battle Creek Brawl.
I remember the theme music. It was whistling.
Yep.
I remember that. I remember that. He fought that dude, the bald-headed dude at the end that was kissing people. It was crazy.
Yeah. Now, the thing about this film, they liked Jackie being able to do his action, and he did a lot of stunts in there. Mako is in there too. Mako plays his older dad or his uncle or something, and no, his martial art teacher. And you know, Jackie, America wasn't ready for him.
Right.
And he was so good, and they kept promising him. This was the thing that I really hate about what he went through. See, he's shown publicly great like personality toward what he had to endure. They kept promising him films with Clint Eastwood, Stallone, Arnold Schwarzenegger. They kept promising him, you're gonna be as big as these guys. We're gonna have you. We got a project we're working on. But they didn't want to be in the film with him because he would overshadow them. And that was their egos at the time in Hollywood. Those guys, they did not want to do a film and have Jackie outshine them. And Jackie didn't have the ego that Bruce Lee had. It's funny because Bruce Lee was the one that would have been like, you know, I want to do this by myself.
Right.
But Jackie was just happy to be in America, especially when his godfather, Lo Wei, kind of put that contract out on his life.
That's a whole nother. I know people right now are like, what?
Yeah.
That's a whole nother.
And he got that resolved by his relationship with Jimmy Wang Yu. But they pulled him out of Hong Kong and sent him to America. And that's when he made the Cannonball Run and this film, The Big Brawl. And then later, when everything got squashed with Jimmy's assistance, he went back to Hong Kong. He made a couple of films, Island of Fire, and another film where it was a collaboration where he was doing it as a favor for Jimmy Wang Yu for helping him out. You know, Jackie played ball, man. He played ball. The things that Bruce wouldn't do, Jackie was like, okay, I'll do it, you know. And what I mean by that is like, go along with what they tell you. That's why if you look at his American released films, they're not as good as his Hong Kong released films. And that's by design. I'll say this because this is my particular opinion. I'm not saying that Jackie said this. So I'm taking accountability for my words. But understand this. Jackie understood how to play ball. When he made an American production, he just made sure that he didn't give him everything. When he did his stuff over there, he went balls to the wall, all out.
Right.
And you could see the difference. That's why you can say, well, man, he was in this American film, but he wasn't all that. That's by design. Yep. Watch his Hong Kong fair, and you'll see the real deal.
Yep. Damn. Yeah. So much to cover. Let me talk about The Big Brawl. What year that came out? 80 what?
1980.
1980. By the time I saw it, it was on HBO. That was back when we had like 2 cable channels. It was HBO and WHT. Those were the rival movie networks.
And he even cut his hair for The Big Brawl, because you never saw Jackie with a short haircut like that. Ever. But he cut his hair because, you know, he used to wear the long, like mullet type cut.
Yeah.
And they kind of told him in Hollywood, maybe you'll look more appealing if you kind of trim your hair up a little bit, this and that, blah, blah, blah. But they made sure they put him in his Asian cut robes, like you see in this picture here, because they wanted to show his muscles off. Because he was in good shape, you know. But he wasn't a person that prided walking around like that. He knew that was something that struck appeal. That's just like when he did the film Fearless Hyena. He knew that it was going to call for some real training sequences and everything. So he took his time being he took his time being training for that film, and he had a physique that rivaled Bruce Lee in Fearless Hyena.
Right.
By the time that film was made and finished, the images of him in that film, that's when Jackie was looking his best ever on cinematic film. He looked really good in that film.
Yeah, he was chiseled. He was chiseled. And like I said, he had a lot of funny scenes in that, but that last fight scene when he was running through and fighting those guys, because this film takes place like in the 30s, right?
Which one? The Big Brawl? Yeah.
Big Brawl. And man, those fight scenes at the end was something else, man. He lit their ass up at the end. Oh man. Jackie, you know what? I recommend that, man. If y'all never seen The Big Brawl, and that was an American film, well, you know, it was filmed here, you know. They were introducing him to the American audience. Next time we saw him, if I'm not mistaken, was Cannonball Run.
Yeah, the irony is that film was supposed to be set in the 30s or whatever in Chicago, believe it or not.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh wow. So that was damn good, man. That was damn good. I ain't seen that movie in a while. I'm gonna find it. I'm gonna watch it. It's got to be somewhere.
Yeah, I got it remastered on Blu-ray. It's pretty good.
Oh wow.
Good. Yeah.
You know, Jackie. And then when he vanished for a while as far as making movies here in America. Next time, you know, American audiences reintroduced to him, it was Rumble in the Bronx, and it was business as usual. And I'm like, man, ain't he kind of like he's like 50 now, you know, something, and he was still moving and shaking like he's a young man. And there was so many, man, Stormy. He been in the business. Sheesh, how long you been in the business? 40 years?
Who, Jackie?
Yeah.
No, 50 plus, bro.
And this guy,
he's in his 70s now.
Man, how many times he does his own stunts? Man, this guy almost kills himself in every damn film, man.
Look here. Here's a shot of him from the Fearless Hyena. Look at his physique.
Yeah, he's shredded, man. Yeah, he's shredded. He's shredded, man. He's in shape. And mess around. He was really working out in this film, bro.
Mm-hmm.
He was really working out in that film, man. You know, this guy's to be respected. So we did 70s, basically into the 80s. Okay. His work in the 90s was predominantly in China. His hit movies in the 90s, shit, how many? I didn't research that.
What are you asking?
Yeah, like his hit films in the 90s, let's say from 90 to 2000.
Oh, he did films like The Twin Dragons, Police Story 3, which was known as Super Cop, City Hunter, Crime Story, Drunken Master 2, Rumble in the Bronx, Thunderbolt, First Strike, Mr. Nice Guy, Who Am I?
Yeah, I remember that. That was great.
Gorgeous, Gen X Cops, and Shanghai Noon. That was from the 90s through 2000. And after 2000, he started, you know, another series of international films. Yeah.
Hold on, I'm typing something. I got to send out this email real quick.
Yeah. But Jackie has always been someone of respectability, man. He's always been that guy.
I'm sorry. Jackie, when he that's what I want to, and I almost forgot this. This is how popular he is, man. There was a scene in Ong Bak where dude was walking through an airport and he bumps into this guy.
Yeah.
The guy turns around and it looks just like Jackie Chan, and he was about to fight.
Right.
Classic Jackie Chan comedy. He says, "Oh, I'm sorry, I just want to pick up my bag." I was like, "What's this? What's this?" It was funny as hell. They did that on that, man. That was so funny. That was so funny, man. I was like, "Yo, they about to fight? What was that? Jackie Chan? That's supposed to be Jackie Chan?" I don't know where they found that guy, but it did look like Jackie Chan. Jackie Chan, man. That
reminded me of like when, do you remember I'm trying to those three guys that are on YouTube, and it's like one that looked like Martin, one looked like Will Smith, and the other one looked like Jackie Chan. Have you seen those three guys?
What is that? What?
Those three dudes, they look just like those guys, man. I crack it up every time I see them. They do videos together. Here's the shot I really wanted to find from Fearless Hyena with Jackie. Look at him, bro.
Yeah, he's shredded. He got shape for that, didn't he?
And they talked about it. They talked about how he said that because he knew he was going to have some training sequences, and this was considered different from Drunken Master. You know, he wanted to really make it look like he put his body through something, and he did. I don't think he ever looked like that again, but he did for that film. And guess what, y'all? Jackie was a smoker, man. Jackie liked his cigarettes. Yeah, he smoked, bro. He smoked. He was a smoker.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
He still smoked? Do you know?
I don't know if he still smokes, but yeah.
Goodness. That's funny. Oh, you know what we can't forget, y'all? We can't forget. That's what I'm saying. It's going to have to be a two-parter, Stormy. Another reintroduction to the younger people to Jackie Chan was his cartoon, which was great.
Yeah.
That damn cartoon he had was it was good. You know, I watched it at first and said, "Oh, okay." But the writing and then the different seasons, it wasn't meaningless. It was funny as hell, too. And that cartoon made the younger audience go back and watch his movies. That was great, man. The Jackie Chan, what was it called? The Jackie Chan Mysteries?
That reminds me that, you know, when Bruce Lee, you know, before he died, he had a deal on the table for some merchandise. He had a deal on the table for some books, and also some more film productions. But he had a deal with Hanna-Barbera to make a cartoon.
Man. And that was right around, that was on time, because at one point, damn, everybody had it. Harlem Globetrotters had a cartoon. Muhammad Ali had a cartoon. Bruce Lee would have fit right in with that. What year was that, by the way?
73.
73. That'd fit right in. Yeah, Jackie Chan Adventures. That's what it was. But man, that would have been dope. The Bruce Lee, that was right on time, man. That was right on time. Damn, man. Jackie Chan Adventures had like how many seasons? I know they got to be a crazy box set on that. That was on television for a good while. Jackie Chan, and the way they drew him, it looked just like him too. It was funny. That was funny as hell. His grandfather, one more thing. Episode was funny because they had something that made his grandfather young again. And you found out that his grandfather used to act just like Jackie when he was young, running and jumping off of things, and things almost killed. 4 seasons. Wow, that was great. That is great, man. I encourage everybody if you haven't seen The Foreigner, I think it might be on Netflix. If you haven't seen it, watch it. He's not joking in that one. There's no fun and games in that one. Yeah, it's a basic story. You know where it's going. When it starts, you know where it's going. When something happens to him, you know where it's going. But it's like, man, I ain't never seen Jackie dead serious like that. It's like, oh man, where's the jokes? Ain't no jokes in that film. There's no jokes in that film. You know, the bad guy's effed the wrong one, and he's some decorated military dude, come to find out. But in the States, so you see is a Chinaman working at a restaurant. One of those situations. But it's a really good film. Really good film. Man, salute to Jackie Chan.
Yeah, man. Go ahead and give us some final thoughts, bro, on tonight's show. We'll be returning to Jackie. We'll return.
Yeah. And y'all make sure you should put the link in the description for your Kung Fu channel. So that on the easy. Go subscribe to Stormy B Man's Kung Fu Temple and Entertainment. All right, I got it up right here. I'll put that in the. I'll put it in the chat right there. That's the Kung Fu channel right there. If you have questions, you know, if you listen, if you black, you grew up on Kung Fu films, man. Don't even lie about it. We all watched them, man. It's great stuff, man. And again, this is a great ass show, man. And man, you got my wheels turning. There's so many questions I have, like, you know, as far as like the whole Kung Fu genre. There's things that I forgot about. All the Shaw Brothers films. I can't wait till we discuss the Kung Fu games that were influenced by things we grew up watching on these on these films, man.
Yeah.
You mentioned Alexander Fusheng. Yeah, Chinatown Kid. That was one of my favorite films. That was a good film, man. Yeah, man, but this was dope. Can't wait to see what we do next week. Nerds is back. Hell yeah. Nerds is back, man.
Yeah. We always, you know, can find something real good to talk about on this show because we're revisiting our culture. You know, it's like that's a hand that's a can't miss target there, you know.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, I'm headed over to Pep Talk. Yeah, I gotta kill him tonight, man. So yeah, man. So salute Stormy. And we'll talk. Salute, good brother.
All right, man. Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you stopping in, man. Take care. And I'll be in the chat over there.
Yes, sir.
All right. Peace. Wow. What a show. It's been great, man. This is what it's all about. What it's all about. I thank everybody for coming in. Make sure you take that positive energy over to Pep Talk. He's got a good one lined up for you guys this evening. We're going to right now hear from our brother, the Focus Ball.
Get ready to take your striking game to the next level with the Focus Ball. Dramatically improved footwork, timing, head movement, hand-eye coordination, reflex, and overall fight IQ. It's lightweight and extremely portable, so you can train every time, everywhere. When you don't have a coach to do mitt work, get a Focus Ball. When you don't have a heavy bag to hit, get a Focus Ball. When you don't have a sparring partner, get yourself a Focus Ball. And when you just want to have fun punching and kicking, get a Focus Ball. When you train with the Focus Ball, you train your eyes and your brain to read punches so that you can hit and not get hit, making this very simple device a must-have for all combat sports athletes and enthusiasts alike. So if you want to take your striking game to the next level, don't wait. Get the Focus Ball now.
Yeah. So we come to the end of another Nerds, man. Make sure you share the content, you guys. Share it because we have great conversations on our subjects here. We try to cover everything to make sure that you all enjoy the experience of reviewing and recalling. Tonight was a part 1 for the Kung Fu Legends of Jackie Chan. And we'll be back next week with something else. But just know that we try to do our best here and keep you all entertained and keep you engaged. I want to say shout out to the mighty LDBC. And we will catch you guys next Monday for another round of Nerds on Culture. Peace to everybody. Enjoy your week.